Hi, welcome to Numbers Made Incredibly Easy. This is a series on Med Calc, or Med Math as we call it in nursing school. It's a very important series because it shows you how to solve problems, how to deal with all the Med Calc problems. I know a lot of nursing students or pharmacy students, they get kicked out of school just because they don't score a 90 on their Med Calc exam. So some student would say, I've never been an A student in math. Why would I need to score a 90 or 95 on my Med Calc? Let me tell you, it's very important. Number one, Med Calc is not complicated. It's not trig. It's not calculus. It's not linear algebra. It's very simple: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And number two, you are dealing with lives. Every single administration, med administration, is a Med Calc problem. And if you make a mistake, know that every time you make a Med Calc mistake, it's like killing somebody. So it's very important. I know some schools are very picky. They require a perfect score. You have to score 100% on your Med Calc exam. Others require 90% on the first try. And if you fail the first try, they require a 95%. And that's it. So I know a lot of people with hands-on who would make really good nurses, but that cannot pass. They cannot succeed in nursing school just because of Med Calc. That's a shame. There's a lot of recipes out there how to handle Med Calc, how to learn stuff. Now, I'm going to teach you just one principle, one way of doing Med Calc, and it works every single time. It is called unit analysis or dimensional analysis. Unit or dimensional analysis. If you learn unit analysis, you don't have to remember anything, to memorize anything. Just deal with your units and you're good. What's a unit? A unit in English is a specified amount of a quantity by comparison with which any other quantity of the same kind is measured. So you have all kinds of units. You have units of weight. When you say 1 kilogram, the kilogram is a unit. If you say 5 centimeters, the centimeter is a unit. So we're going to be dealing with the units in our Med Calc. What we're going to do, we're going to be given units, and we are asked in the end to find maybe a different kind of unit. We're going to proceed. We cancel the units we don't want, we don't need in our answer, and finally get to the answer, the unit they ask me to find. To do that, we have a few principles. I'm going to teach you these principles right now. Now we're going to be canceling units. That's one big principle. Units. So we cancel the units we don't want and we keep the units we need. Let's say they ask me to find how many seconds are in 2 minutes. So I have 2 minutes. They ask me how many seconds are in 2 minutes. So the minutes, I don't have it in my answer. My answer has to be in seconds. This is the unit I need to find. Now, I'm going to find a way to cancel minutes and find my answer in seconds. How do I do that? There's the first big principle you need to know is the multiplication by 1. That's very big. Multiplication by 1. In multiplication, if you have any number, you multiply it by 1, you don't change anything. For example, I have 5 times 1 equal 5. I don't change anything when I multiply a number by 1. I may have 500 times 1 equals 500. I don't change anything. And it doesn't matter how many times I multiply this number by 1. Let's say I multiply 500 by 1, then another 1, then another 1. I multiply by 1 3 times, but I don't change anything. I still have 500. So we're going to use this principle to cancel our units in our unit analysis problems. Now let's talk about the 1. When you have a fraction or a ratio, if the numerator and the denominator have the same value, this is 1. It's a whole. 6 over 6 is 1 because the numerator and denominator are equal. If I have 1,000 over 1,000, because both numerator and denominator are equal, this is 1. Now, let's talk about units. Sometimes it happens that I have equivalent. Let's say I have 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So I have 60 seconds in 1 minute. If with these two entities I form a fraction, let's say I write 1 minute over 60 seconds, because these two quantities are equal, this fraction, with the numerator being 1 minute and the denominator 60 seconds, this fraction is equal to 1. I may flip it. If I have 60 seconds over 1 minute, this is also equal to 1. If I multiply any of these numbers by 60 seconds over 1 minute, let's say 5 times 60 seconds over 1 minute, it's like multiplying 5 by 1, so I don't change anything. Now let's get back to our previous problem. All right, so you asked to convert 2 minutes into seconds. Okay, I have my second here. This is the unit I want to find. I'm given 2 minutes. I'm using this relationship that I know. I know 1 minute equals 60 seconds. From this, there are two ratios I can form. These ratios, we call them conversion factors. There are two ways of setting up the ratio. Either I have 1 minute over 60 seconds. I write 1 minute over 60 seconds. This is one ratio, one conversion factor. Or I write 60 seconds over 1 minute. That's another conversion factor. Now, the way to set up the conversion factor, the problem dictates the way you set up the conversion factor. It depends on what's given and what you need to find. This we will get into it more in detail later. For this simple problem, remember the multiplication by 1. 1 minute and 60 seconds, they are equivalent. So if I have a fraction or a ratio where 1 minute is on top and 60 seconds is at the bottom, because the two are equivalent, this fraction is equal to 1. So is this one, because 60 seconds and 1 minute, they have the same value. They are equivalent. So the numerator and the denominator are equal. This fraction is equal to 1. I can use one of these conversion factors to solve my problem here. So how do I go about it? Which one do I use? Do I use this one or this one? Now, we're going to be canceling minute because we don't want minute in our answer. One other big principle, if one unit, the same unit appear both on top and at the bottom, this unit is canceled. If I have minute on top and minute at the bottom, this minute I cancel. So that's how I'm going to proceed. I'm going to set up ratios, multiply my problem or whatever is given by this ratio. I may have 1 step. I may have 10 steps in my problem. So this one, for example, is a 1-step problem. 1 ratio. I pick one of these two. So which one do I pick? I have 2 minutes. All right. You can set up your ratios like this. These are the steps. It depends. Some problems may have 20 steps. You never know. This, I want my answer in second. All right. So I know I'm going to have to cancel minute. So which one do I use? The one I use is the one where minute is at the bottom, because minute is already on top here. I use this. So the unit in my answer has to be on top, and the unit I want to cancel appear at the bottom. So I'm going to pick this one, this conversion factor. So 60 second, right? I write the second, the one I want in my answer. I write it in red to keep track. 60 seconds over 1 minute. Do I need another step? I don't think so, because in 1 step I already have what I needed. So here, minute, the minute appears both on top and at the bottom. So this minute is canceled. My answer will be 2 times 60 seconds over 1. 2 times 60 is 120. So my answer is simply 120 seconds. I multiply by 1, but my 1 will be a conversion factor that I will form a ratio that I will form from a relationship. Either they will give you this relationship, or most of the time something you know. Like in this case, I know 1 minute is 60 seconds. I form my ratio from this, my 1, and I multiply the 2 minutes by 1, 60 seconds over 1 minute. I cancel the minute because it appears both on top and at the bottom, and my answer is 120 seconds. How do you convert, let's do 7 yards in feet. How would you convert 7 yards in feet? I'll give you this relationship. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. How do you solve this problem? I have my 7 yard here. I don't even know how many steps I'll take. But I do know I do know I'm going to start with yard and my answer will be in feet. So if my answer will be in feet, I'm going to write this in feet for you. It means I'm going to try to find a relationship that has yard and feet. From this, I form a ratio, a kind of fraction where the numerator and the denominator have the same value, even though they are not in the same unit. And this ratio, which is 1, I take it and I multiply whatever is given by this 1, and I cancel the unit that appears both on top and at the bottom, and voila. So from this, what kind of ratios I can form? There are 2 ratios I can form, right? I can write 1 yard over 3 feet. Remember, this is 1 yard over 3 feet. I can also write 3 feet over 1 yard. I don't know yet which one to use, which of these 2 ratios to use. The problem will dictate which one I use. I want to find feet in my answer, so I'm going to use the one where the feet is on top, which is this one. 3 feet for 1 yard, so 3 feet over 1 yard. Do I need another step? I don't think so. So I think at this point, I'm good. I cancel yard because yard shows up on top and at the bottom. And finally, my answer will be 7 times 3 feet over 1. 7 times 3 is 21. 21 over 1 is 21. So my answer is simply 21 feet. I have another one. How do you convert 36 feet in yard? So the problem, what's given is 36 feet, right? This, I'm gonna have to convert this into yard. I don't know how many steps, but I do know my answer will be, in yard. And remember the relationship, 1 yard equal 3 feet. I use this relationship to form my ratios, the same ratios. I have 1 yard over 3 feet, or 3 feet over 1 yard. Remember, both of these ratios are equal to 1. I'm gonna pick one of them, multiply by the 36 feet, and then cancel whatever shows on top and at the bottom. But remember, I need my answer in yard. So which one do I pick this time? I pick the one where the yard is on top, right? So I pick this one, 1 yard over 3 feet. Do I need another step? No. Feet shows up on top and at the bottom, so feet is cancelled. My answer will be 36 times 1 is 36. Over 3 is 12, and the unit is yard. My answer is 12 yard. All right, last problem before we delve into the real Med Calc. How many minutes are in 5 days? I'm gonna solve that remember the principles. We're gonna multiply by 1. The second principle, if I have a unit on top and at the bottom, the same unit shows both on the numerator and the denominator, we cancel this unit. And number 3, we're gonna be using equivalents to build our fractions or conversion factors, we call that. What we know, when we're solving these problems, the equivalents, we should know them. Next time we'll talk more about them. We have the apothecary system, we have the household system, we have the metric system. These are the 3 big systems we're gonna be using, how to convert within a system and how to convert from one system to another. They are basic things you should know. No one is gonna tell you that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. They expect you to know that. Just as they expect you to know 1 kilo equals 2.2 pounds. I know everywhere, Haiti, Bangladesh, or anywhere but the United States, we use the metric system. But here, if you're gonna practice nursing in the United States, you're gonna have to get used to the pounds, the feet, and all that. So we'll talk next time about the conversion into the system. But today, let's say we come knowing that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. First, we know that 1 day is equivalent to 24 hours. So there are 24 hours in 1 day, right? What else do we know? We know that in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Let's use those 2 equivalents to build our fractions. With this one, the first one, we can write 1 day over 24 hours. Remember, this is equivalent to 1. We can also write 24 hours over 1 day. Which one we use in our problem depends on what is being asked. Let's take the second equivalent. We can write 1 hour over 60 minutes. This is equal to 1, just as we can flip it and write 60 minutes over 1 hour. All of these fractions or the ratios equal to 1. Remember, we're going to use them to cancel until we get to the minute we're being asked. Okay, we start from what? We start from what's given, 5 days. We start from 5 days, and we have to end, I don't know how many minutes, but we know our answer will be a minute. Now, how many steps will this problem have? I don't know yet, but let's suppose we have only 2 steps. We're going to multiply 5 days times 1 of these. Our first goal is to cancel days. I'm going to use one of these 2. Which one do I use? Do I use this one? If I use this one, I have day on top again. We have day on top, and this one will give you 1 day over 24 hours. This tells you that if you want to cancel day, you cannot use this one. You have to use the second ratio. So I use 24 hours over 1 day. Remember, this is 1. I multiply 5 days by 1. I don't change anything. I know day will cancel day here. I'm going to be left with hours. Remember, I'm looking for minutes, so I have to take another step. Which step do I take? I'm going to use this one. So of these 2 fractions, which one do we use? Do we use 1 hour over 60 minutes or 60 minutes over 1 hour? How do I know? This one has minute at the bottom. I'm looking for minute in my answer. The minute should be on top. So I use this, the second one. So 60 minutes over 1 hour, which is also equal to 1. So I multiply 5 days by 1 and then by 1. I don't change anything. All right. Now let's see what happens. They cancel day here because they show both on top and at the bottom. Here, hour and hour cancel. All I have left is minute. The last step is to multiply 5 by 24. 5 times 24 is 120. And 120 times 60 is 7,200 divided by 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So 7,200 divided by 1. My final answer is 7,200 minutes. And that's it. So this is the introductory video for unit analysis. And remember, every single problem, every single Med Calc or Med Math problem, you can use unit analysis to solve it. And in the following videos where we will have to deal with really complicated problems, I will show you how you don't need to know anything else. You don't need to memorize anything. Just unit analysis will carry us through. All right. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.